People, we appreciate you joining us as always. You are tuned into the Dope People Show. Today, we have a good one. We have Tamara Anderson. She's an entrepreneur, but even greater than the fact that she's an entrepreneur, she's a loving mother who turned her pain into purpose. She lost her son a few years back and has been able to channel that energy into the cannabis industry to make sure that other people understand the power of the plant. She's a very touching and compelling story. What I also really appreciate about her is she still has her day job and she's able to build a couple side businesses that bring in some more money for her and for her to channel her purpose. So I'm excited for our audience to hear her story, hear about her trials and tribulations, and how they can maybe use some of this for their own businesses. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Welcome to the Dope People Show.
What up, Rebel fam? Back at it again. Dope people, we in this. I'm really excited for this one. As Jacoby just said, Tamara really is exemplary in taking her pain and turning it into purpose. But more than that, it's a hustler. You got multiple businesses. Before the cannabis, she had the side hustle game. Before cannabis, she's just doing it all. And now in cannabis, she has multiple hustles and nothing's getting in her way. And it's really inspiring. So I'm really happy to be here today. Jacoby, how you doing?
Bro, I'm blessed. I still have a job. More than I can say about your boy Cuomo.
Yay.
He's out. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We got a woman in office. Let's go. We need some more feminine energy. And on that note, how you like that transition? What's up, Lulu?
Lulu.
We can't hear you.
Oh no.
I said so smooth, Jacoby.
You like that?
I like that a lot. Really, really awesome to be on this episode with Tamara. Like I said, multitasking. Women love to multitask, and she has many hustles, and it's really, really inspiring to know all the things that she's been doing and up to. So let's bring her on.
All right, Tamara. Hey.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
How you doing today?
I am good in sunny Southern California.
Hey, that's what's up. New York is hot, right, Peter?
It's a great day. It's hot, but it's gray. It feels like it's about to rain or something. Oh, yeah, you know me on my scooter.
I know that you don't use your AC unit very much either, so.
I'm blasting it right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Tamara, it's great to have you on here. Like we kind of said in our intro, mostly excited just to hear about the way that you've been able to kind of like start your businesses. And so before we get into the cannabis world, like we want to know a little bit about you. You're a registered nurse. That's kind of been your primary career. And then you were got the bug to start something new. So we want to hear a little bit about that. Tell us about who you are.
So I'm a lot of things to a lot of people. But first, I am a mother. It's probably my favorite and most rewarding job is being a mom. Having kids is life-changing and the best reward I've ever done. And then I'm also a registered nurse, a self-taught pastry chef, and then, of course, a cannabis entrepreneur.
Amen. Oh, I'm getting some echo. I think it's from let's see here. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, cool. So let's talk about it. Registered nurse. How did you become a pastry chef on the side? You started a business, which was pretty cool, I thought, where you guys actually add alcohol to your pastries, sugar and spike. Can you talk to me about like why did you start a side hustle from your pretty solid day job?
So I went into nursing with the hope and the passion to help the people and help them feel good and help them solve their problems. But that's not exactly what I ended up doing in nursing. Even before I went to school for nursing, I worked in the healthcare industry for 8 to 10 years prior. But I did more of the financial and administrative side, right? I could tell you about insurance forwards, backwards, inside out, what to say to get your bills paid, like all that. I got you covered. But during that, a lot of my jobs was in the emergency room, right? So we've seen a lot of people come in for like pneumonia because they had a cough and didn't go to the doctor because they didn't have the right insurance. And I was like, this makes no sense. A lot of things could be prevented if you had a primary doctor and you went to the doctor first. So my original intentions for going for nursing was to go get my nursing degree, then get a JD, and then get into politics and help change laws on insurance. That was the original plan. God had a different plan. So I started working, but my primary position was for insurance companies. But I was doing medical review, which is kind of like, I don't even know how to explain, like you're reading medical records all day of like descriptive injuries, brain injury, just stuff that you like reading a horror book every day, but these are real people in their real lives. So it was just very, very depressing and not making me happy and making me ill, because I have a rare medical condition that is linked to emotion. And if I am not happy, I am physically not healthy. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to necessarily quit this job because it is helping me financially be able to take care of my family. It's just causing me some stress that I didn't expect. So I was like, how am I going to balance this out? So I've always been the sweet maker in my family. Christmas come, I'm making the cookies, the Rice Krispie treats. It's always been my thing. So I was like, okay, well, I'll start making pastries. And at the time, I lived with 2 of my roommates, and they enjoyed doing the savory stuff. So I would do the sweet stuff. And I started like looking at recipes. So it started with Jell-O shots, because Jell-O shots is easy. And it's an easy entrance.
Like many great nights begin.
Yes, with Jell-O shots. So it started with Jell-O shots, and then I was like, well, what else can I put alcohol in besides Jell-O shots? Because Jell-O shots is so obvious. So we started making, I think the first things I made were like cakes, and then cheesecakes, and then compotes, and then like all of these things. And so seeing people's reaction from when they eat your sweets, it's for me, one of the most enjoyable things. So I would stay up night 2-3 o'clock in the morning to make somebody a cake and be like, okay, well, you have to taste it in front of me. And it would make everything better to see somebody's eyes roll in the back of their head because they just tasted something that you made. But I live in Southern California. So originally my intent was just to, do something on the side, bake cakes for people to order, one-off, a la carte stuff. But I'm going to tell you a secret. Anytime somebody invites you somewhere and you don't want to go. Because usually those events, those activities, you will meet somebody that's going to change your life. It happens to me every single time. I'm like, I'm too tired. I don't want to go. This is going to be boring. I'm going to have to go by myself. But whenever I go to those activities, something always happens. So I did a Kappa Alpha Psi Halloween party here in LA at a car museum, connected by one of the guys that I went to high school with. So that was the first time I did a dessert bar, right? Like multiple desserts. Well, one of the Kappas was the owner of alcohol brand called XO. It was a green cognac, which is really weird, but it was a green cognac, one of the first cognacs owned by a Black person. And he was like, I'm going to give you a couple bottles, make some stuff, get back to me. He gave me the bottles. I drank all of it. It tastes really, really good. I didn't even make desserts with it. So I felt so bad, like I didn't even call him anything. So he calls me like 2 months later, like, I'm doing this networking event, pack up some stuff, and just come down. And I think it was like on a Tuesday night. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go to work, and then I'm gonna have to run home. And then I really didn't want to go. But I go, and like the Mooney twins there, the Paul Mooney's sons, they were there. It was a room full of a whole bunch of like B and C list celebrities, right? So this is my first introduction to like celebrities. And I'm like, okay, this is the right kind of event. And at the time, one of the people there, she was an actress on Young and the Restless, but she had a podcast at the location we were at. You guys know Roscoe's famous chicken and waffle. Roscoe's. Okay, so they have down the street from one of the original locations in the back of a cafe called Bistro Cafe. They have a broadcasting center where you could do podcast or small shows. So she was doing a show there. So she pitched to me, well, do you want to be a sponsor for the show? And you make a commercial. I show the commercial every time we do the show. And I was like, I'll do you one better. You could air, but I will come to each show and give your guest a gift bag of goodies. Because it doesn't know to do me a commercial, but nobody knows what it tastes like, right? So that's how it started. So she would have, she had like the Pointer Sisters. She had, not Tony Rock, one of the other rocks, she just had all these celebrities that would come through, right? And they would see me and they would be like, well, can you do my birthday party? Can you do my album release party? Can you do my this? Can you do my that? And that's how I started like my journey on doing stuff in the industry that was celebrity related, because it was nowhere on my radar at all whatsoever. I could care less about a celebrity or doing something for a celebrity, but stepped into that space. And that's where Sugar and Spice came from.
Okay. So really it started out of a passion project. You're doing something that literally makes you feel good. You start to see the demand signals that people just want it. And you start with like a give first mindset. You're like, I want to give you these things. I'm sharing first. We've had a lot of episodes where a lot of our speakers bring up how important that is. And last piece I'll add is like your network is your net worth. And all the times that I don't want to go to an event and Lulu literally comes to my house and drags me to the next New York event, I'm going to be thinking about you. They're like, oh, this is the one. I'm going to find that next business partner. So, all right, we got the basics. We see Sugar and Spice come on the map. You get a ton of really cool guests, like Waka Flocka. Like that was dope. I saw that when I was researching here. But then you kind of started to go into the cannabis path. So talk to me about like why you're in healthcare. Now we're in alcohol and pastries. Where did cannabis come from in your journey?
Well, I live in LA and I'm around celebrities, and celebrities smoke all the time, regardless if it's legal or illegal.
Humans
So
smoke all the time.
They smoke all the time. So they would be like, you make with alcohol, do you make it with weed? And I'm like, yeah, I do for my friends, but not for you. It was the licensing process to get the licensing for the alcohol infused desserts was so difficult because they didn't have regulations. I was like, if they don't have this for alcohol, they sure don't have this for cannabis. They sure don't have it. So for 2 years, I deterred entering that as a business or even thinking about that. But when you're an entrepreneur, once you get a demand, you don't want to leave money on the table. Like, we want to do that.
What year is this? Like, when was this?
So it started around 2013 is when it started, when I started getting, the requests. And the request wouldn't be at the event. It would be like with a follow-up email. Or like if we did events, I was always really good if I did an event, even if I got paid or I sponsored it, with like putting a gift card in the goodie bags that like had my information and a free dozen cupcakes, right? Because most likely they're going to get the free cupcakes and something else too. So that's another lesson for y'all to learn. Give away stuff, but give it under enough so it's just enough to give them, but want them to have more. I'm just saying.
That's a pro tip. Shout out to any of our event sponsors. If you want to give us some cupcakes and a gift card after the event, those are all welcome as well. All right, so we got the demand signals. We got people asking you about making weed products, and then somehow this transitioned to an event company. Can you talk to me about like what happened in your life that kind of like spurred that change?
So what happened is originally I wanted to go in and just learn how to infuse what I was already making with cannabis. Mind you, we was going to do both. We was going to do crossover desserts, cannabis and alcohol. I was not taking the alcohol out. We was going to leave both.
Dangerous. I like it.
But on that journey to find like recipes, I found tons of recipes, but none with the calculation and dosage. Even if they told you how to make the butter, how to make the oil, how to make the sugar, they didn't tell you like how much weed you put into it, what's it going to come out. Didn't even talk about like the percentage or what you should, even if you're going to the dispenser and you're going to make it yourself, what should you be asking them for to give you the proper amount? None of that information was available. So I was like, well, how are these chefs how are they doing this, right? Because it wasn't written anywhere at this time. It was an unspoken language. Like you had to know somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that had experience to learn how to do it. So originally the intent was like just to take some classes from somebody that was already doing it with my group and some of my culinary friends so we could start implementing it into our own businesses. But along that journey, I was like, if I can't find this information, then other people can't find this information. And then also seeing that like people used eating with cannabis edibles different than like just smoking. Like I would hear people talk about, oh, I give it to my child because they have autism. I give it to my grandparent or my significant other because they have dementia or Alzheimer's. Or I take it for my MS and my fibromyalgia because it's a longer lasting effect in your body when you eat an edible versus when you smoke it, which is a head high. So I was like, there's more. The medical part of me was like, there's more to this than what they're either telling us or that we know about. So if I need this, then other people need this. Like these people that have these kind of things, they were, giving their family RSO or stuff that just tastes nasty. And I was like, I had a couple experiences with chefs that cook things that taste really good. And I was like, how come everybody don't know about this? Like, why is it such a big secret?
You've seen the
So
other side now.
I seen the other side. So out of that came Culinary Cannabis as events because we wanted to highlight those chefs, because with Sugar and Spiked, I was doing food and wine events and chefs were getting $10,000 for one dish, just a regular dish. It ain't helping nobody. It's just making you feel good or taste good. It's not helping you do anything. And I was like, this is kind of backwards. Like these chefs that cook with cannabis have to know science. There's so much more you have to know, but they weren't being celebrated. So we started with the intention of celebrating those chefs and also highlighting chefs that, choose cannabis as their herb of choice, so that they necessarily, people that need them know where to find them. So I was like, okay, I don't need to cook with this, but I need to help everybody else find out where to go get this at.
Got you. So that was the beginning of Culinary Cannabis. Is basically we have a person who is a registered nurse and a chef, and you still couldn't figure out how to make this whole game work. So there's obviously an unmet need that you were really like primed to figure out. So talk to me about the business of Culinary Cannabis, because I know you have a couple. I say this with praise. I love that it's the side hustle, right? It's something that you're literally doing as a passion project. You're finding time out of your crazy schedule to make it happen. I can fully relate with that. But yeah, talk to me about the business. Like, how many events do you do? How do you figure out like what your prices are going to be? What's the experience going to be like for somebody attending?
So first of all of our experiences are interactive experiences. Because for me, I don't learn by somebody sitting in front of me and dictating something to me. I don't learn that way. And especially with cannabis, I think that people have to experience it in order to really understand how powerful the plant is. So we start by creating events that are all sensory events. So by touch with massages and facial, by taste with chefs, by seeing it, by sight and by smell, by having flower on site or products that are infused on site so that you can smell them, apply them to your skin, touch them, all of those things, you know what I mean? And also different people like cannabis in different ways, but if they don't know the options that are available to them, they can't make an informed decision for themselves, be it for medicinal or recreational purposes. If they don't know what's available to them, they're not going to take the opportunity to do that. So I started creating the events, one, out of a need for myself. Once I started on this journey, seeing something that I would want to attend and that I would want to do. So that's how we came up, with the kind of events that we're doing. Event wise, I probably do, when we're allowed to do them, 6 to 8 events per year. Usually one larger event, and then the rest of them are smaller events. I kind of prefer the smaller, more intimate events. I'm very hands-on with my events. I try to be attentive to all of my guests when they're there. Some event producers and event people you see, they put everything together and they're so busy running around, they don't have time to like say hello to somebody or answer their questions or shake somebody's hand. I try to make sure that I'm available and accessible to people, because a lot of times people have questions that they want to ask me in person that they don't necessarily want to ask me on social media, because they don't know I do my social media. So I'm answering it is me, guys. I'm answering the DMs. So that's important. As far as ticket wise and sponsorship wise, we have, how do I say, I try to have our events, as far as sponsors and brands that want to participate, I try to make the packages very reasonable so that they get a good ROI on their investment. So I try to make it where the estimated guest count that I have in my head with track record, that they will be able to sell enough to make back what they spent, right? Because a lot of brands don't understand doing events is actually marketing. It's not necessarily selling at that point, because a lot of times people don't come financially prepared to buy everything that they want at an event, and especially a cannabis event, and especially Canna Curious. They have no idea how much items and things cost. So I always try to tell people or vendors or brands that participate in our events, I give them a list of things that they, should do to make the event best for them, right? But it's really about the marketing and getting the data and getting the information. You should be having some type of sign-up sheet. I recommend, if you have a tablet, to do a tablet, because sometimes you can't read people's handwriting, but having people sign up so you can remarket to them, so that you can re-show your product to them. That's very important. As far as on the side, for the consumer side, since we've came back from COVID, our prices are very, very low for entry, right? And that's just to have an entry fee, is to try to, is you making a commitment that you're going to attend, right? Because usually if somebody spends a little bit of money, they're going to come. A lot of times when people just RSVP, they will RSVP, but they don't come. If you have, usually when you have RSVP, you take 20% of that RSVP, and that's usually the amount of people that show up, right? But if they spend a little bit of money, they're vested in attending your events. So it's a balance. Like you said, it's a passion project for me. Right now, I'm not at the point where I'm like profiting or necessarily trying to make a profit, but I'm trying to make sure all of the expenses are covered so we can do other events and do more stuff. I need to change that mindset. I'm sure one of my mentors will tell me that. But until we get to the point where, I feel like we have enough traction where, it's profitable. But right now it's important for me to provide the education and access. So having the education for the consumers and having access to brands, to people that want to follow and purchase for them. Because a lot of times brands also, a lot of cannabis events are B2B. They're not B2C. We're not talking to the consumer. We're just talking to each other. So how are we going to get financially supported if we just talking to each other? All these expos and they're all B2B.
Yeah. So, I mean, we know that very well because we feel a lot of your pain hosting events. I think for us, like when we hit our first event over 300 people, Lulu and I were like, no, I don't even know the people here. I can't help you. I can't introduce you to anybody. And we underestimated that was one of our favorite parts about having the entire event, was the fact that we can plug people, we can connect them with brands, with groups. So like that was our threshold. So we feel that very, very intimately. And the fact that it is a passion project, right? Like your growth is based in the network that you're building. And you're having an event, but you're meeting all these other great people who then talk about you again, who then talk about you again. Same with the first business you started with the desserts. So I admire your passion to the side hustle. But I am really curious if you want to go here. I heard and I read that a big reason that you are so into your business is because you actually treat it like another human. And if I were to guess, I'm projecting here, I would say it has a lot to do with what you've dealt with in your family life. Would you like to share at all about like what you went through with your son or your family and how that actually kind of like pushes you forward?
So my entrance into the cannabis space was very welcoming. Um, there are three ladies who I still have good relationships with, and it was a good entrance for me to interest in, very supportive, very encouraging, helping me, networking, all of that, right? It was a real good, solid foundation. And I did my first event, and it was really, really good. Within the first 6 months of me doing that event, I had a really bad experience with somebody that came to my event, liked the way I produced the event, and was like, well, can you help me with my event? And I'm like, sure, I'll help you. She paid me $1,000, and I ended up producing her whole event. Literally picking up bags, picking up step and repeats, stuffing bags, doing event design, doing everything, right? And I was like, this is a woman group. I'm just there to help them. I'll help them through all this. At the end of the night, it was probably the worst experience I've ever had in my life. Like reality TV, what the is going on? Screaming and hollering, calling me inappropriate names, just really, really bad, right? So after that, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this, or if I'm gonna keep doing this, I'm not helping nobody else. I was being nice and helping you, and you were so I was gonna get out. I was like, I can't. I went into this so that I'm not stressed, and this is totally an unnecessary stress, right? That was even before I became a year into the business. So my son, who also had the same syndrome that I have, which is called Job syndrome, which means our bodies don't fight off basic bacteria, which is like staph, which is everywhere. Always sick. He's sick. I'm sick. We're always sick. I didn't even get diagnosed with the syndrome until he was 6. And when he got diagnosed, there were only 250 cases in the world. He used to have to go to the National Health Institute in Maryland to go get tests to try to help them figure out, how to help with this. We did that until he was like 13 or 14, and he was like, Mom, I don't want to go anymore. We used to go every year, and he was like, I don't want to go anymore. He's 13 or 14. I'm not going to make you go anymore. Like, it's your choice, your decision. And my son was sicker than I was. So he had way more comorbidities than I did. So let me say what a comorbidity is. So a comorbidity means if you have your main job and then you have your side jobs, comorbidities are your side jobs, but with illnesses. So he had the main Job syndrome, but then he had scoliosis. He had a benign tumor on his knee. He had hypertrophy of the left side of his body, meaning the left side of his body was larger than the other side, but also the nerves were less sensitive. So he played he skateboarded, he dirt biked, he surfed, he did all those exports, he did all that, but all this side of his body was all scarred up because whenever like he would be falling off the skateboard, he would fall into that arm because it was less painful on this side. Like it hurt, but it was less painful. So my son got into smoking cannabis from 7th grade to 8th grade entering. And we went through that whole thing of like, you don't need to do this. Why are you smoking? You can't, it's going to ruin your brain. It's going to ruin your life. But he continued to smoke like most kids do if that's what they're going to do. But one day I came home and he was having a Friday episode. He was walking around upstairs, talking to the birds, jumping in and out the closet. And I'm like, bruh, did you smoke today? Yeah, Mom. What did you smoke? Just weed. Did you smoke with a friend? I thought they was my friend. Did it smell funny? Yeah, it smelled funny. I was like, fuck. Sorry, you could beat that. So somebody gave him a Primo. And at that time I was like, look, if you're going to smoke, I need you to go get educated because we can't have this happening again. Mind you, it just scared me being a mom and his sister being 6 at the time. She was just like, she thought it was funny, but I was like, this is not safe. So I made him write a paper. I told him, go research so that wherever you're getting your cannabis from, you need to be able to ask the appropriate questions. or you need to be able to smell it and tell if it's appropriate. Like, go get some information. So when he came back, he was like, Mom, he was like, it's not that I just want the cannabis. He was like, I need the cannabis. I need it so I can skateboard. I need it so I can sleep at night. I need it so I can surf. I need it so I can concentrate in school. So at that time, I got him a medical card. But still at this time, me only knowing about flower and smoking, and not knowing the medicinal benefits of if he ate with it, not knowing the benefits of if he applied it topically, because we have eczema and eczema is really, really bad. Not knowing any of those things. We didn't know any of that. So he was very supportive of me coming into the cannabis space and very supportive of my brand. When we did our first event, all of my volunteers were him and all of his 12 friends. Like, he was like, my right hand man, pick up stuff, do this, all that. And I give that to saying contents. We started the business, had a really good event, had a really good turnout. He's very supportive. We did this event that we did was for the Grammys, which is in March. No, which is in February, right? Beginning of March, he gets sick. So I take him to the hospital like we normally do. But my son never left the hospital after that. And once I came to light of like everything going on and everything happening, I think I had my first event at Coachella after then, which I should have canceled. I truly believe that if I would have had the knowledge on the plant that I have even now to this day, if I would have been able to implement some of those things in him, even being young, his immune system would have been stronger, and he might still be here. So the passion for me to continue with this, because it's difficult, it's not easy by any means. I don't even share the rough parts of like what goes on behind the scenes, but I don't want another mother, sister, friend, significant other to lose somebody because they don't know about this plant, because they don't know that they have an additional option available, because they're not aware or educated. I refuse to let that be a part of my life and my story. So I talk about cannabis everywhere I go, and I'm really good at like filling you out to see what level you are so I can approach you. I'm really good at that. But yeah, so we will keep talking about it until the end of time. At least I feel like his loss won't go in vain, if that makes sense. And I'm so attached to this business because I feel like it would have been something that he and I did together. And so I was telling somebody the other day, like, I'm very emotionally vested in this company, like it's a relationship, because when it's doing good, I'm very, very happy. I'm very on top, and you could tell. But when it's not doing what it's supposed to, I'm like, oh my goodness, what is wrong? What am I doing? It's like my husband, because I don't have a husband, but it's like my husband. So it's like which, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is right now at this point. It is what it is. And it's helping me grieve, but at the same time makes me feel good when we have people that come to our events and like, this was life changing. I found a product that worked for me. I was on narcotics or opioids when I was at home. I found a product that works for me, and now I'm going back to work. It makes all of the stressors that come along with it worth it.
Wow. So, I mean, first of all, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I really appreciate you opening up with our audience and kind of like telling your story. And I genuinely appreciate the fact that you are kind of channeling that energy to all the other mothers and families that don't even know how much they need the information that you're able to provide and that you've learned. So I speak for all of us on the Revel team that like we are truly in awe of uh, your mother strength and everything that you've been through, and able to kind of channel that into to your business baby, or husband. Maybe I should call your business husband.
Yeah, he grown. At least he's in his early 20s. I feel like he grown.
Yeah. Okay. So this explains why you are so focused. It's so powerful to hear, and it really like gives some context to how important access to information, let alone medicine, access to information is. And so I appreciate the events that you're having. Um, but you have also started a handful of other things as well. So you have the events, but now I'm looking up and you got these like canna spa tours going on throughout the country. So talk to me about what's going on with the canna tours and the next horizon.
So you step into a entrepreneur. They always tell you to have multiple streams of income, right? But culinary cannabis has multiple streams of like streams within itself. So during the pandemic, when we were locked down that year, I had scheduled out the whole year of events, put deposits on all of the places. We was ready to. Our first year, I was prepared. We was ready to go.
I feel you so hard on that.
Right,
Keep going.
like, and then it was a loss. So I was like, once we come out of this, I am going to take this to other places, because in LA specifically, there are events that are similar to what I'm doing. So it's not like if I'm not doing them here that people won't have the opportunity to have similar experiences. No, they're not me. But that doesn't mean that they don't have the opportunity to have similar experiences. When we went to Atlanta and we did the Super Bowl in Atlanta, that made me realize that that this needs to be outside of California and not necessarily just here, because there was such a lack of like them not even knowing the difference between CBD and THC, thinking that was the same thing. And literally this conversation was because we had Uber drivers, repeated conversation with the same the same thing with different people, different age ranges, different ethnicity, different backgrounds. But every time we would ask them, it was the same thing. They didn't have any idea that weed is weed is weed is weed. No, y'all haven't even got to the good part, the good stuff yet. So I was like, okay, these experiences are needed outside of here. But not only just experiences, the education for inspiring entrepreneurs. A lot of times when it becomes legal in new states, the hot thing is the only thing that they talk about is licensing for dispensaries, flowers, and grow, all hand touching items, right? But they don't provide the education or resources for all of the ancillary stuff that's needed around that. CPAs, marketing. They don't talk about all those things. So our tour includes kind of two of those days. It includes a day for consumers to come and meet local brands within their area and also get to experience the different ways in which you can use the plant. But then we also have our day that is for B2B, but a different kind of B2B. We do licensed massage therapists, licensed estheticians. We do a basic class on butters, oils, and tinctures for anybody that wants to get into the space and needs how to make those things for edibles or topicals. Even if you're going to white label or outsource or buy these products already made, you need to know what to ask for from the person that you're purchasing it from. So you need to ask what kind of flower, where is it sourced from? Is it distillate? Is it you know what I mean? Like, even if you're not going to make them on your own, you need to be well informed so that you can make the best product for yourself. And we also include marketing, because in the cannabis space, the most difficult thing after getting a product is marketing, regardless of what part you are. It's difficult. So we have somebody that talks about marketing. We're coming to New York, so we're also adding somebody to talk about the legal aspects. So our tours are kind of like 2 days. It's for one for the B2B and one to B2C, but not the normal, grow here. It's just different. And I guess it comes from like things that I would want to see and types of occupations that I think would be of value. Because yes, I'm a nurse, but I think that especially massage therapists and sports massage therapists, I think that people underestimate the value of them. And being able to have that service with CBD or THC by somebody who is educated in it could be life changing for somebody that, say, got into a car accident and their spine is messed up and their back is messed up. Having a massage therapist that knows how to use those products and with them could be life-changing. So we're coming out of LA. We will be in Oklahoma Labor Day weekend, and then we will be in New York the month after, and hopefully bigger in 2023.
Wait, hold on. You can't be squeezing past that detail. When you're gonna be in New York, tell the people. I might have to pull up, get the mani pedi.
You're gonna have to come get the mani pedi. You're gonna have to come get the beard steam, the beard wash. We pamper you, the fellas too. You see that beard? He need all that. With the beard steam, we're gonna make it happen. Make it happen. But we will be there October 2nd and 3rd. We are doing 2 days in New York because of the activity or the request for services that we're getting there. I don't think they're doing just 1 day for 4 hours. I think that we will have a lot of people like, I need some more. So we're doing 2 days, 2 days in New York, 2 days of being able to have the services.
All right, dope. I am excited about it. We will definitely be in the building. Peter can get that beard nice and shampooed or whatever you would do with that thing. But look, we're almost out of time. I got 2 things for you. I also know that you guys started a cannabis events directory. I want to know about that so you can share with people. And then I got one last question for you.
Okay, so being in this space for so long, like I have the resources for people, the chefs that I know, venues that I know, photographers I know, massage therapists, estheticians I know, right? So a lot of times I get calls or requests from consumers looking for those things in their area, and I would have to go through my whole Excel spreadsheet and find the person and then send it back. And I was like, this don't make sense. So we created a directory for brands to sign up for free. So anybody that is event oriented or service oriented that uses cannabis or is 420 friendly, they can sign up for the directory for free. It's free for them to sign up. It is, I think it's $4.20 for people to access the information, but once they access it, they can access it forever. But if you have a venue, if you're a photographer, if you're a massage therapist, if you have an Airbnb, any of those things, and you are 420 friendly, you can list your business on there. We're going to do big things with it in the future, but come on and sign up for free.
I love that. It's actually more than what I gave you credit for as a events directory. It's like all the services and assets that you need for a safe 420 gathering and all the resources. That's pretty dope. All right, look, we're almost out of actually, hold on, before I go past that, I'm gonna get our information in that directory because that's necessary, and we need all those people on the East Coast. But before we go, I just want you to talk to the people. Let us know where we can find you, but then also let us know what's on the horizon. What big things you got planned that you can share with us?
Okay, so you can find us on all social media platforms under Culinary and Cannabis, all the way spelled out. Our website is www.culinaryandcannabis.com. Our Cannaspa tour, that is 2 cities this year, is www.cannaspatour.com. So it's a separate landing page with all the information for all the partners that we have and the dates that we have. So big things we have coming up. We have the tour coming up, of course. We have our lovely, I don't even know how to, subscription box that has been redesigned about 12 times. But it will be available for this upcoming holiday. And the box is beautiful. It will be available this coming holiday. But then after that, we will have a series of subscription boxes that are smaller, but they will be by all Black-owned brands or owned by people of color, will be in those brand box. So you can sign up for that subscription every month, and it will be a smaller box, but it will have brands in there that you can learn and know about. So those are all the things I can talk about right now, but you got to stay tuned because there's some other things going on that I can't talk about yet.
Hey, big things popping on the horizon. I'm excited to hear about it. Keep us in the loop as more things come out that you can share. We'd love to share with our people. We rep the East Coast hard, but Lulu and I are from the West, so we got lots of love for California. We still love you guys. Yeah, man. I just got to say, like, I really appreciate you coming in and being candid about your life and your business, and I think it's really inspirational to see how you've turned that pain into purpose. And I don't want to de-emphasize the beauty of the side hustle. I'm the same way. I have some side things that like I don't really talk about. They make money in weed, and I still have a day job. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity for our communities to make money on the side if they go to the skills that they have. And I just love how you've kind of finessed this like medical to pastries to events, and it's just like it just shows how diverse your skills are, but how diverse the opportunity is out here. So on that note, I thank you so much for being a part of today's episode. It was an honor, and we look forward to all of the blessings and the big things going on in your future.
As in New York.
Oh, that's a fact. New York is happening. All right. Thank you, everybody on YouTube. Thank you, everybody that listens on the podcast. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And have a good one.